Slow as shit. Oh, now you are live. Hey, Al, how's it
Hola.
going? Hey,
Hi,
sweetie.
Hi. I'm in the private chat, so give me a sec.
It shows you on screen, so.
No, I had it in the private in my thing.
Oh.
I mean, I know I'm on the screen. Hi, guys.
How's everybody doing? I was actually hoping for a bigger turnout, but oh well. So, anyways, we're here to talk about relationship issues and how to build, I guess, self-esteem, knowing between narcissism and all that crap. Anyways, go.
Okay. Hi, guys. Yeah, so pretty much like Kelly said, we're going to have a discussion, and in a way, kind of want this to be not like what we were doing, when we ask questions and we come in and, that's all fun and stuff. But we kind of want this to be geared more towards you guys figuring out, where your path is on as far as if you need to heal, you're healing, and how to have a stable relationship. So when this is over, hopefully a lot of us will have like some clarity on that. And that's kind of the goal. And our ideal with this is we're going to talk about our personal experiences and things that shaped us. We're going to talk about what opened our gifts. Okay. And so I think it'll be pretty interesting for not just us, but for you guys too. And I think this will be helpful for we think this will be helpful for a lot of people. So,
yep.
We decided to do this because we've been having these conversations for the last 2 weeks.
Somewhere around in there.
And it's been pretty self-healing for us because we're both empaths and we both just been helping each other figure out, what we need in order to start having stable, healthy relationships. And just beyond that, like just to be happy where we are, So I'm ready whenever you are, Kelly.
Well, you guys pretty much all know me. You know the story. Moved up to Springfield, almost 3 years ago? Back in March of 2018 or whatever it is. 9 months relationship with a man that pretty much controlled the whole relationship and was extremely emotionally unavailable, where I was overly emotionally available. Hey, honey, how's it going? And when the relationship ended, I went through a almost year-long depression, which Take a Moment, which is my best friend, was living in the same house as me, can verify to that one. And when I came up out of it, I realized that I had empathic abilities that, even though I had always known I was intuitive, never realized how intuitive. And that became my focus. So I buried all of the rest of it. The emotional instability, I guess, is a good way of putting it. Buried the hurt, buried it all. Started on this empathic journey and this twin flame journey, which turns out, the twin flame journey itself is a solo journey. And I found a lot of women that come into my station, and I don't know, Strength would probably tell you the same thing. We wind up doing this stuff in order to get that person back. And in actuality, the twin flame journey is a journey of self-discovery. You need to do this stuff for you. not for them.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a turning point for me. So then it was doing it for Kelly and not doing it so Kelly can get the ex back, which is probably a really good damn thing, because when I talked to him the other day, he proceeded to tell me that the relationship was completely my fault, that it fell apart. So, and then I proceeded to say, yeah, no. So I learned to take the welcome mat up off my back, put it in the closet, and start to really put some boundaries up. All yours.
Okay. Well, my story is a little crazier, probably. Well, I would say I'm going to talk about the first relationship that I definitely know triggered my empathic abilities, or where I first noticed, was the relationship with my mother. I did lose my mother when I was pregnant with my first son. After I had my first son, she passed away 10 days after I had my son. I always had the gift, but when you go through life and you're young and you're growing up and you're going through all this stuff and you're meeting all these people, we sometimes bury our intuition and desensitize ourselves to our gifts, in a form of way of saying or thinking we're crazy, or we hide them from everyone, or we hide them from ourselves. And then when you do that, it kind of blocks you, right? It blocked me from my guides. It blocked me from my gifts. My gifts were triggered after I lost my mother and I had my first son, because of just my mom was that, kind of like my rock, you know. And in a way, that's what I was. Oops, sorry guys. That's what I was for her as well. Hold on, grab him. Hi. That's what I was for her. But the crazy thing is you understand a mother and parent relationship, whether it be a daughter or father that you're close to. You're not supposed to raise your parent. You're not supposed to be the parent stability. So a lot of my childhood, since I was the oldest, and I think because of who I am, I was almost like, that rock for my mom, which was in turn opposite, right? So once I did get old enough, once I had my first son, I was like 22. I lost my mom. So I was definitely terrified of being a new mother. That opened, it just opened a whole bunch. I had a major downfalls, and the next thing I know, I got with the guy right after having my son, right after losing my mother. It was easier for him to get in because I was a lot more vulnerable. And it turns out the guy was a narcissist. And even though my guides and the universe and everything around me was giving me that clue that I didn't need to be with this guy, I still, like Kelly said, stayed because I thought, I needed that. I needed that to fill a hole, where I no longer had my mother. I feared that, and I feared not having security enough to be a good mother to my child. So I kind of latched onto him, so to say. And well, lo and behold, it actually backfired in my freaking face. I was in a very abusive relationship for 6 years. And what took me walking out of that relationship, I cannot explain. I cannot explain, because you wouldn't believe it. You'd be like, what? No, that doesn't make sense. It's like I woke up one day. He made a comment. It wouldn't be any different than any argument we ever had. He said something about my mother, and that I just realized I didn't want to love him anymore, And don't get me wrong, that was a slow process. I mean, it was probably, I would say 2 to 3 years that it took me to fall out of love with the guy. So, um, once that was said, because his mother was a narcissist, so you understand he was an only child. And when we moved by his mother, it's like his behavior became more toxic towards me. He started putting his hands on me. He started devaluing me. And then he even started devaluing our children, because at that time I had my second son with him. So it was pretty much hell in that. And I knew empathically at that time, don't ask me how, because guys, you understand, like, I was blocked for my gifts, but and I always knew I had them, but I wasn't listening and I wasn't paying attention, at that time. Even though my gifts are that strong, I could be slapped in the face. I still was like not listening or paying attention. But somehow I slowly, as I kind of like detached from him in that situation, that's when I really started listening to my guides. I started seeing the signs. I started listening to what was going on around me. I knew instantly that I had to get out of the situation cleverly. I couldn't just leave him. At that point, it was that bad. So I waited. Thank God for him being in the military, and he went back and he deployed. I was able to get away. I left everything. I left my home, my cars, just my whole life, and got the hell out of there. So that's when my gifts really started opening back up. I was pregnant with my daughter Maya, and I knew that I wasn't really, even though I had gotten away from him, there was still some sort of connection, and I still was under that his influence of just being with him, feeling like I needed that security, feeling like I wasn't going to be a good mother. And, that fear was still in me. And if you guys remember, I told you when I lost my mom, that fear was there that whole time. And I wasn't dealing with that. I was just dealing with the distraction of the relationship and little issues that really wasn't the core of my problem. So I do know my gifts started opening back up the night that I was pregnant with my daughter. I got woke up by a woman, a spirit. It was my mother. And she said to me, "He's going to take your children." And it was around the time that he came back from deployment. And I already knew he was upset that I had left the house and I was in a different state. Because I heard that voice, I don't know what possessed me, but I decided to go and file for full legal sole custody of my son, the son I shared with him. Thank God I did that, because when I went back, yes, I went back to the state. He ended up calling the police on me because our son got out. Our son was like 3 years old. He got outside because the little door thing latch was broken. His dad broke it off. And pretty much that state I got arrested by the police. I got charged with not domestic violence. It was neglect towards minors, talking about my children, because I went outside and my child got out, so they considered that neglect. The state took my children, both of my sons from me for 8 months. And I'm going to tell you guys, I didn't spend that first time not spending Christmas with my sons, that I've never been such a wreck in my life, ever. Like, you would not believe how bad it was for me. And I was pregnant during all that. But because that angel came to me and shook me up and told me, pretty much guided me to go and get that full legal sole custody while I was in the other state, I was able to not lose my son. Okay. So that's when my gifts started really opening up, is going through that trauma of that relationship. And from there, I just started building back on my gifts, because that helped me realize, like, whether I liked it or not, I needed my gifts. If not for me, I realized I needed it for my kids, you know. My gifts are what helped protected me, and they're what helped protects my family, and it helps others. So there's my spill. There's my spill.
All right. Basically, a lot of times you will find your gifts will come to light, even though, like she said, I had always had my intuition. Always, I listened to it a great deal till I started getting older and got involved and put a welcome mat on my door for narcissistic men. And decided to take it off. But we've been talking, excuse me, the past couple of weeks about boundaries and healthy boundaries. Not letting them walk all over us, because a lot of times her and I, because our stories were so similar, decided to come online, because I know for me, one ex, the one that used to like to sit there and use my face as a punching bag, decided he was going to, it started out as verbal abuse. Threatening to take my kids. When that stopped working, then he became physically abusive. When I finally got to the point I got out of there, then he would sit there and use the kids as an excuse to come back in. Oh, and also threaten to commit suicide. So, I mean, all of these things, I guess, for me, a lot of it was abandonment issues, because when I was younger, pretty much all of the men in my life were out, they had all left for one reason or another. And because I was a child and did not understand the situation, I automatically assumed that they had left, and that it wasn't my fault that they had left. But I was to blame. So then I guess the good girl syndrome, or whatever the hell you want to call it, popped into effect. So it was constantly pleasing. I was always pleasing. I had to please my mother. I had to please the family. I had, everything was for the family. Nothing was for Kelly. And I would cling, I would cling to the family members, or I would cling to these men. I would cling to whatever that would show me even the smallest inkling of, I guess, what would you call it?
Affection.
Yeah, affection. The smallest amount of affection, and it's like I would cling and I would hang on for dear life, because they were showing me something that I had felt that I needed, and I would put up with a shit ton of crap, including verbal and physical abuse, because I thought I was in love with these men, or I thought I needed that affection. And it turns out, yeah, not so much. So,
No, get away from me.
I guess part of healing is
It's not been an hour. Sorry.
figuring out what the triggers are.
You are so funny. Sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
Oh, you're fine. What the triggers are, because for me, it was major abandonment issues. And I would just cling to anybody that showed me a little bit of affection and automatically think I was in love.
And he would say hello. No, just go play over there.
Um, I guess we're here, to tell everybody, self healing starts from within and radiates out, but we have to, as adults, um, understand there's a problem and figure out what it is. For me, it was
Yeah,
abandonment.
yeah. I'm gonna add some stuff. So this is and my take on it is just being an empathic person, whether you're an empath or not, just a human in general. If you have a good heart and you want love, or you want, you just have good morale, good values, and um if that's something you want, the number one thing you have to do is kind of what Kelly said. You have to look within yourself and see what you're missing, or what's going on with you. And it usually does start from our childhood. It's that one thing that, we as children didn't know how to face, or even if we weren't children, it was something that was triggered that brought fear on us that we didn't know how to face. And as an empath, or just as a good person, you have to take responsibility for your emotions. And then people don't see that taking responsibility for your emotions means literally, even if you didn't put those emotions on you, you still have to take responsibility.
Mhm.
Sometimes we tend to think, and I think maybe that's because society or people in general think like it's okay to put their emotions on other people. It's okay to blame my mother for marrying an abusive, drunk, alcoholic man. And no, you have to take responsibility. And the test of strength is taking that responsibility and healing those wounds on your own. And honestly, you don't do it on your own. You can have a good support system, a good friend, people that believe in you. As we get older, we have at least one of those. I have
Yep.
heard people say to me, and understand, like, when people come to me, they come to me for many different things, and I hear them say, well, I don't have anyone. And that's just never true. You have yourself, number one, but number two, there's always going to be someone there. Your guides are there. You just gotta want to believe in yourself and really want to heal and fix what's inside. And I would say, like, I'm going to say everybody has a hole. We all have a hole, an emotional hole. And the sooner you face that and you fix, and you work on that, the sooner you're going to find healthier relationships. You're going to set healthier boundaries. You're going to do what is right for you. Um, it's never easy to love yourself, though. And that's what people don't get. Loving yourself is is work. And that's just like relationships are work. And if you look at, what a relationship is with somebody else, in order for you to love someone else, you have to put that effort in to it every day, whether they're good or bad for you. So why doesn't society teach us to put that into for ourselves? And I think the reason why is, like, they don't want us to be powerful. They don't want us to have, they want to label, empaths crazy, or people with abilities crazy. We all have abilities.
Mhm.
So, in a way, like I said, society desensitizes, or they ignore these gifts. And that leaves us kind of as people stuck, struggling emotionally. If you look at how bad suicide has gotten, and it's like, for some people, they're like, I don't understand, or you drug addicts, or people who have issues that are running away because the hole was so deep that they could not bear, or they could not figure out how they could heal.
Yep.
um, the reason that is because society and the wrong people and the wrong relationships. And it always starts with the love relationship. But people have to understand that love relationship starts within you. You can't give love if you don't love yourself. And so you're always going to fall for the wrong thing if you're not embodying the right thing. And the right thing is to love yourself, to be content and happy with yourself, to have that balance for yourself.
Yeah, it's like emotionally, or emotionally, well, there is emotion involved, but giving yourself unconditional love. Okay, you know how
Okay,
you
take it.
give these men unconditional love, which basically they will take and run with it. Because when we love somebody unconditionally, we basically pull and let them, we make excuses
Take it,
for them.
baby.
And this is where the boundary thing comes in. But usually when we love them unconditionally, we automatically think we just accept all of the bad behavior. And that's not so. But if you're going to love somebody unconditionally and accept those bad behaviors, why can't you accept yourself and love yourself unconditionally? You're going to, give this man this love and give this man this pass, but yet you're going to beat yourself over the head.
Right. Jen, I saw your question. I think that's on topic a little bit. What? So, Jenna, that's another example. Is if we don't fix that hole within ourselves, like even if you notice, it's like a sickness with people. Oh, we're so easily to love the wrong thing or the wrong person. We'll give the wrong person all the love in the world. If
Yeah.
you're one of those people, let me tell you why. It is because you haven't done that work within yourself and you haven't healed that within yourself. Um, you see a person that is healthy and you see a healthy relationship, and you will see like they and them and their partner communicate pretty well. And of course, they have they have arguments but it always ends up where they come together. They are in a partnership, they work together. um it's hard for you to accept a good thing if you don't feel like you are a good thing as well,
Yeah.
if you don't understand the value of yourself as well. And let's just say you're empty and you don't know why. You can't figure out what the issue is from your childhood or whatever the hole is, the black emotional hole. um the way you do that is actually valuing yourself, choosing to do and right things, choosing better people to be around, looking at your environment and saying, hey, is this environment where I can say, look at myself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm doing everything I can and I'm happy with myself. It does start with the choices you make, and the simplest of choices you make can actually have a big effect on you where you don't realize. um so what do, Jenna? You start working within. And you don't blame him because, or you don't think that he's better than you. You don't think he's, more emotionally stable than you. He might be, but if he's giving you what it needs and you're feeling better about yourself, then maybe he's in your life for a reason. And that's something you should accept and you should allow in, without question.
Yeah.
Don't, and that's part of self sabotage. If you ever notice, there's a lot of people that self sabotage their own happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's due to the fact that they just don't really want to do the work. I'm not saying you don't, Jenna, but I'm just saying there's a lot of people that don't, or there's a lot of people that distract themselves from doing that work and then they don't heal. So, um, right, I think about that with the guys. Like we can, since we're empath, Kelly, I'm sure we can say it from the guys' angles, but just not even the men that we dealt with. We could see where they had their issues, and we can place why they treated us the way they did, right? It's always easier to look at the other person first for a lot of people. I noticed with me as an empath, I always look at myself first though. And I think it's different for everyone, but I notice like I'll look at myself first and my own behavior. I get mad at myself if I don't treat someone right, or if I don't support someone the best I can. And that's another thing, is you got to be very careful of that. You can't put yourself down because someone else is acting a certain way. You don't live up. We don't have to live up, and we're not meant to live up to another human's ideal of how we're supposed to love ourselves. That is up to us. We determine that. And so if you don't feel like you're worthy and you don't feel like you love yourself, then you got to do that work.
Yeah. You got to learn to love, like she said, you got to learn to love yourself. You got to learn to love yourself unconditionally. I don't care if you're skinny as a rail, 300 pounds, whatever. You've got to be able to look in that mirror every day and honestly say, I love me. I respect me. I have boundaries that I will not cross. Because if you don't, you'll fall for pretty much anything. Case in point, I had some guy. I'm on dating apps, okay? I'm just on dating apps. Some guy comes in, starts to sweet talk me. All of a sudden, we're less than a half a page into Texas, and I haven't heard from him in almost a month, and he comes back with, I love you. I'm like, okay, well, that's nice. Thank you very much. I know I'm beautiful. Hey, what the hell? And then he says, do you have Cash App? And I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to sit there and get Cash App for? Mind you, this guy's sweet talking me. And he said, do you have Cash App? And I'm like, yeah, I've got Cash App. Why? What's up? He said, can I use it? I'm like, hell no, you can't use it. It's for my damn business. But the thing about it is, okay, if it had been 4 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, I would have jumped at it, okay? Because I would want his approval so much that I would have done anything to get that approval, which included letting him tank whatever freaking credit I have left. So now, with the change, with me learning to love myself unconditionally and to set boundaries for myself and the boundaries for other people,
if I jump,
it was like, no, dude. I don't know you. You can send me a freaking picture and tell me you're JFK, and that don't mean jack shit to me. You don't cross those boundaries. You don't ask me for nude pics. You don't ask me to sit there and send you sexy texts or anything like that. I'm not your girl. I'm not your wife. You're going to respect me as a woman and as a fellow human being.
Right. I think when you look at the way that people date today is it's very hard to find true, genuine people that actually love. So just remember, if you're valuing yourself on how someone else feels, like it's great if someone sees your value. It's great if someone respects and loves you and shows you loyalty. Just think of that as a perk of someone realizing your worth, and don't overthink that, and don't let that shape, who you are, because it's not who you are. Anyone can see anything in anyone. I mean, dude, we dated narcissists and we fell in love with them. So imagine what we saw, it's that kind of thing. You have to value yourself for yourself. And if you do that, you're going to realize that you're going to accept the people who care, the people who actually do support you. You won't have that many people around you. And don't get me wrong. The people, what I'm going to say, fuck boys and fuck girls are everywhere. So they're always going to be around. But you will know when to spot them out and when to cut that off, because you value yourself. You're better than that. So that does take time to learn. I think when you're on that journey of self-love, it really takes time to learn to know when to cut someone off and not fall for their words, you know, because words are just words. Actions, if there's no action, then what the hell's a word, you know? And that's something that I had to learn. I still fall in trapped of that, you know, of someone telling me, okay, exactly what I want to hear. And then they turn out being the total opposite. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, you're not that great of a person. But
Yeah, it's kind of like, when somebody's, I mean, I'm sorry, but when you have a relationship with somebody, when you are in a relationship with somebody, there's two people. So hey, Priscilla, to sit there and you need to take responsibility for your half of the relationship. They need to take responsibility for their half of the relationship. That is a healthy relationship.
And I think people have to remember, you know, that you working on yourself and you being right with yourself and being happy within yourself will help your partner live their best life. It'll help bring out the best in your partner. Like, think of it like this. If your partner's an alcoholic, you know, or has a gambling problem, what in turn do you think you're going to lose? How hard are things going to be on you? See what I'm saying? So having a healthy relationship, you know, with a real true love is something that you have to start with yourself always.
Yeah. Because I mean,
go ahead.
Get into a relationship with a gambler and an alcoholic, what are you going to do? Hand them the alcohol? Hand them the money? You can hand them the alcohol and the money all day long. You can keep handing them to it, but you know what's going to wind up happening. Your happy ass is going to wind up broke.
Right.
Because they're going to keep going, gimme, 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 gimme. You have to set those boundaries. Because if you don't, you're going to get used.
So, yeah. One of the steps that I've been taking, because, you know, I am still young and I'm still on this journey of self-love.
Dude, I'm 55. I'm on the same damn journey.
I know, but I guess I'm finding out a lot quicker. Thank God. But, you know, my point is, I'm still trying to work on that every single day with myself, you guys. So one of the things that I've noticed that I do, I definitely, for me personally, and I'm just speaking for myself, I identify like what's going on in my environment, because I notice that I act off of my environment.
Yep.
So if I'm around and hanging out with a bunch of single people that just party and drink all the time, what's that mean for me? I'm probably going to be hanging out, partying and drinking, or being around it. And it's not really going to end up where I feel good or I feel like I'm doing something productive for my life, you know? And I don't find value in that of sitting around and, doing nothing. So for me, it's, hold on.
I know for me, I'm on this journey later on in life. I'm 55 years old. I just started my journey about a little over a year and a half ago. I had kept the welcome mat out on my back that long. And when I finally started realizing that I needed to learn to love myself, to accept myself, to put healthy boundaries out for myself as well as the people around me, it became a whole new world. I still have trouble at times. I still look in the mirror and have to remind myself of how far I've come in life. But Yeah, panic attacks are no joke. Been there, done that. But I'm learning that it's an ongoing process because we can still wind up falling back in that hole if we don't watch ourselves. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry guys.
I'm gonna go get a cup of coffee while you're talking.
So does anyone, okay, so this is a discussion, this is a conversation, whatever. Right now we're gonna take a little break. I want to see if any of you guys have like questions that do not include our tarot cards. We're gonna do that part, and we're gonna kind of do that part a little different than we normally do. But I want to know if you guys have questions. What's your feedback? What's your, how you guys feel about this, what we're saying. Oh, I just now saw panic attacks are no joke. Oh, okay, Priscilla. In a little bit, he's sleeping. He's falling asleep. I'll bring him out a little bit.
What are you doing, young man? And another thing
Master Manifester, you're right. I think that. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that you're right. Master Manifester. I think someone who, like, I noticed that too. Like, it's not about looks. It's not, like looks are nice or whatever. I guess I've never been superficial like that or shallow like that. But you're right. I think even in a man, if a man is not loving himself and he's just a careless, like, I'm going to give an example. I'm not going to say names. I'll say this guy named Tony. We're 30. Well, he's older than me. I was dating him. He's older than me. He's almost in his 40s. And I found out that, when we were dating, that he was sleeping with a female that was 15 years younger than him. And I just felt like, not very, I didn't feel like that was very, like for a man that was at where he was in his life, it turned me off. It was like, dude, you have a daughter, number one. Number two, like you're out here sleeping with children. And then when I say children, understand a 21-year-old, a 21 or 20, 19, 18, even if it's the legal age, I just don't think, what does a 40-year-old have in common with these, people of that age? You know what I mean? It's just a turn off. And it says, what's wrong with him? Which I'm an empath, so I could connect to what was really going on with him. But just to see that was like, oh, yeah, dude, you're not a good, you don't value yourself. Not only are you taking advantage of children, you're taking advantage of yourself as well. So I do think it's important how people, pay attention to how people act. I know even like people, daddy issues. Yeah. And that's why he was doing it, because he knew that they had daddy issues and he was taking advantage.
I mean, if you're going to sit there and get involved with somebody that's 14 or 15 years younger than you, at least do they have the decency of being in your 70s and having them being in their 30s.
Right.
Because then you're actually getting involved with somebody that has emotionally matured.
Yeah. Peppermint said, how do we know if we are ready to be in a relationship again? Ooh, that's a good question. And that's a hard question because, see, Peppermint, there's no time on that. No. You can love someone for 5 years and then move on from that person in a month. I do think it depends on how that person treated you and how good that relationship was. Like I noticed, I mean, personally, I feel that way. Like I noticed when I was actually with the guy who it wasn't horrible, but we just didn't
That's,
connect on a certain level. It was a little bit harder to kind of let that one go, but I also feel like the longer you stay in it,
I love you, Audra.
the longer you stay in an unhealthy relationship is the harder it is for you to get over it. You understand what I'm saying? It's almost like this thing called, I always talk to people about it. It's that fatal attraction energy, or that codependency. It's so enticing to try to be with someone that it just can't work, or you feel like you have to fix, or you feel like, we all have that hope and faith. So it's hard to say when it's time to start a new relationship. And I feel like it's once you're finally really walked away from that person, not
Yeah.
just physically, but I mean emotionally. And I always test myself, like, would I go back with this person? And if I can say no, then yes, I'm ready for someone new. I'm ready to start. And also remember, you don't have to jump in. Don't jump into anything.
No.
Take your time, get to know the person truly. That's one of the problems, I've had before is that I'm a Leo, I get in relationships and they can go very, very fast. I mean,
Fire
I,
signs have a tendency to do that, don't we?
yeah. And even water signs have a tendency. It's that, once we feel, water signs may have it harder because you guys will be like, not all water signs, but a lot of you guys will not be open to a person emotionally, but you'll be content with the way the person is showing you emotional affection and attention, just like but with a fire sign, it's more passionate, right? It's
Yep.
more, this is fun, this is great. It's that fairy tale feeling in the beginning. And then we latch onto that. You don't want to latch onto an ideal of what a love is or relationship. You want to be with somebody because you actually see potential and you can actually bring out the best in that person, because that's the only relationship that's going to grow is
I
if
would
what.
say if you can actually go out on a date with somebody and go out on a date more than 10 times and still be okay with being yourself, not trying to be something they want you to be, then yeah, you're pretty much ready. But if you go out on that date and you automatically jump back into that old habits, then no, you're not ready.
Right.
Because you're not here to please your partner or to change for your partner. When you two come together, you come together to walk down this path together as a couple with I always say being with somebody isn't always going to be 50-50. Sometimes it's going to be 80-20. And that's because
Mm-hmm.
we're both individuals. You both have different thought patterns. You both have different strengths and weaknesses. Now, when you can walk into that life with somebody and you guys can share that life and you can sit there and trust that person when they're the 80% and you're the 20%, then you got a good relationship. And only if that person can trust you when you're the 80 and they're the 20.
Yeah. And so I don't put a time on self-healing. I believe that's 100% when you're ready, and understand with healing, like I said, loving yourself is an everyday thing. It's work. You're responsible of it. You have to just do it. You have to take responsibility of how you feel. Um, you can't push it. You can't force it. No, but you can work on it step by step, and that's part of the reason you take those steps slowly. And like Kelly was saying, sometimes your partner's going to have to put in 80%. That's how you know you're with the right person, is that they don't mind picking up the slack in order for you to get back on your feet. They're not going to kick you when you're down. You're not going to feel alone. You're not going to feel abandoned. No, That's not a relationship. That's not a healthy relationship. And don't get me wrong, now there would be a time limit on that. You shouldn't be putting up the 90% of the relationship and that person's only putting in 10%. Okay. Huge red flag if that's the case, and if you're doing it all the time, that is not the person for you. You want somebody who can come in and match you, in that area. And like Kelly said, that's the person you can trust. That's the person you can grow with. Um, so be aware of that for sure.
Yeah. And don't try and change yourself to be with somebody else. If you do that, then you're definitely not ready for a relationship, because you have to be able to walk into that relationship 100% yourself and know that that person is going to accept you for who you are and what you are.
Right. Now, just to throw, this is just another topic we were talking about. I know people that we usually do readings for, and people come in here and they ask us questions about, and guys, don't be offended. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I'm trying to let you guys know. They ask questions about the same person over and over and over and over. And I've seen where someone was asking about someone for over a year. And I'm like, huh? Why? It's been a year. If it ain't working by a year, come on now. But all my feelings aside, I'm an empath, so I have to come from a place of like understanding that. And what I want you guys to understand is sometimes when we're going through this healing, or we're trying to distract ourselves, or we don't really want to do that work because we feel like we can't, or we feel overwhelmed, or we feel it's too hard, or we feel like we don't know how, we sometimes tend to look back at the past relationships and we'll latch to like the good moments or the good times that we had with someone, and we'll forget about the horrible crap and why that person just wasn't good for us, or even when the person even abandons us. Okay, someone who's meant to be with you is never really going to abandon you. They may take their time to need to heal or work, get themselves together. That's understandable because, like I said, we all have to work on ourselves. But someone who's meant to be in your life will never abandon you. And you will never have to feel codependent, or you will never have to feel like you have to ask questions about where you stand. You're always going to know. No matter what the relationship is, you're always going to know where you stand. That goes for friendships, that goes for love relationships, that goes for any type of relationship you have. You will always know where you stand with that person, no matter the time apart. And it won't be that much time apart. They're going to come around. They're going to check on you.
I'm just going to interrupt you 1 second here. And everybody, I would like to introduce my daughter, Audra Smith. She's on the live right now. Just wanted to shout out to my baby girl and tell her I love her and I miss her.
Aw, hi, Audra.
Seeing her mother at probably one of the worst times in her life. And her and I and my other 3 children are still repairing, or trying to repair at least some of it, a relationship that their mother completely screwed up with them. And that's another thing. We have to take responsibility for our actions. Always. I screwed up. I was a shitty mother for a very long time. Doesn't mean I didn't love my children, because I did. But because of the codependent issues and because of the abandonment issues, I was an extremely shitty mother. And that's something I will have to live with for the rest of my life. And hopefully with her and with the other ones. I will eventually be able to repair it. But when you get with these men and you have these issues, whether they be abandonment issues or lack of love issues or whatever, they will affect not only yourself but your children as well.
Yeah, for sure. I can't say I don't know if I've let my children down. I don't think you can know that until they get a little older and communicate with you about how they feel about you as a parent. But the hardest thing I think is to be is a parent. Only because there's no damn handbook on how you should do it, right? And there's nothing to prepare us for the emotional roller coaster that are children, because you have to just have trust and faith in your children to just hope that you instilled all those values in them so they are prepared to love the right people, love themselves, and, you know, be successful and happy. You just want your children to be happy ultimately. And when you're not, if you feel like you didn't do enough to be there for them because you were so focused trying to love yourself or love somebody else,
Yep.
it tends to make you feel, it should make you feel guilty because, you know, we need our parents. We all needed our parents, right? We all needed that guidance, you know. Um, we learn more in your home than you do at school,
Yep.
and that's because this emotional stuff, the stability stuff, is something that it affects your whole world. It's your whole life, and how you carry relationships with people is a big deal. My mom used to say, always be good to people, always forgive people for the things they do. And I never understood what that meant. Um, and now that I'm older and I do go out, you have to understand that, yes, you can hold people accountable for their actions, but there comes the best way to actually heal from someone who's hurt you or let you down. The best way to me, I feel, is doing that is to say, I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know why they did that to me. Maybe because of something they went through. Has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do, with the relationship I have with them. Because really, when you have all these issues, you're not really focusing so much on the relationship, okay? Because the relationship has no foundation, it has no value. Um, you're more focusing on the affection part, the attention part, you know, the what do you, I guess, say temporary fillings
Hmm.
to cover up. It's like slapping on a band-aid on a wound that's gushing blood. I mean, like, what is that band-aid gonna do? It's not gonna be any good, you know. You're gonna have to keep slapping band-aids on and until
Yeah.
you finally go in and you decide to clean that wound and you decide to actually wrap it and it, actually heal. You
Yeah.
got to do the work. You've got to work on yourself. So it's just that's the biggest thing when it comes to you, like I said, your environment, your relationships. Sometimes when single parents, and I know because I'm a single parent, we do thrive on our wanting contentment with a love relationship because we feel like it would be easier on us, it would be easier on our kids. And I'm going to say, most of the time when I have a single woman or father come to me, that is not the truth. You can find contentment with the love of your children. Your support and you being there is contentment. So some people, don't realize they can heal that way because children are a blessing. That's why they say they are a
Yep.
blessing because they are the most unconditional love that you will ever feel on this planet, until the society messes it up or until you mess it up as their parent, it has to be messed up. You know what I mean? So just know, like, if you do have children and you are a single parent, there's no relationship that's going to make you a better parent other than the relationship with yourself and that relationship with your children. And that works just starts with yourself. Be there for your children. Your children will always be there for you. They love you. They need you. They want you. If you have a child that's acting out, it's not because of a shitty relationship you walked away from. They're acting out because they want your attention. They want your affection. They need you. And a lot of the time, single parents don't realize that because usually they're walking away from a marriage or they're walking away from someone, you know, that's how they ended up being a single parent. So keep that in mind when you're raising your kids.
Those emotional issues, that emotional baggage can bleed over into our children. And unfortunately, I know for me, I started out extremely young. I was 17 years old when I had my first baby, 19 on my second, 20 on my third, and 22 on my fourth. So, and never really had the tools that I needed to raise children properly to begin with. And went through a lot of mistakes, to put it mildly. And truthfully, I thank the good Lord every day because I don't know how in the hell it happened, but I had 3 younger children that all have their heads screwed on straight. And obviously, okay, 23. Sorry, baby. 17, 18, 19. No, because you and Dale are only 11 months apart. You and Dale are 11 months apart. So, and then Tina was born. Oh, okay. Sorry. Talk about walking down the same damn path. The only difference is she had twins. But she still had her head screwed on a hell of a lot straighter than I did. Don't ask me how I did it. I still have no clue.
So Kelly, do you want to tell them how we're doing questions tonight? If they want.
Yeah, what the hell? We've only been, let's go.
Okay. I'm just gonna start it. So tonight we're gonna do $2.50 for a question. We pre-wrote these questions. We rewrote these questions, you guys, to help keep it about just to help you guys for this conversation. You know, of course, you guys know we're still going to be doing questions. It's just this is not that live, okay? So be asking us about, is this guy cheating on you? We don't care. No, I'm joking. Not tonight.
We don't care tonight. We'll go back
care tonight. We'll care tomorrow. No. So with this live, it's about you. And what we're doing with this is, you know, self-love and healing. And you guys taking those steps, you know, what you should be able to get out of these questions if you choose to purchase one, is the answers you need for yourself. And that hopefully it will get you back on track with the relationship you have around you. Okay. So that's kind of the goal of these questions. So Kelly, you have anything to say about that?
Nope. All good.
So first question, the questions I have, I only have 3, but I added a couple more. So first question I have is, how has, I don't know if you have someone, do you have someone to type them in to the thing? I can't type in. It's your live. Or do you want to type it in?
This ought to be interesting.
Okay.
I have a laptop here, dude.
Dude, I'm not on actual YouTube. That's why I can't do it. I'm sorry. Let me see. Who's on here? No.
Blinded Pass on here.
Oh, hey, Corianne. Okay. If one of the moderators, I don't care which one, whichever one, wants to take these questions down and then type them so everyone could remember. So question number 1 you can ask out of the questions is, how has my childhood affected my current relationship? Question number 2 would be, what steps do I need to take in order to begin my healing process? Question number 3, does my current relationships benefit my emotional stability and growth? Question number 4, how can I be more supportive in the relationships in my environment, personal relationships in my environment? Question number, I didn't have a 5th one. Hold on. I forgot it. Sorry, guys. Does that 4th one make sense to you, Kelly?
Yeah, it does actually.
Okay. How can I be more supportive for the personal relationship? That could be that question number 4 can be just a relationship. So if it's just one relationship, or you want all the relationships, okay? It's up to you. Just and question number 5, I have to think of a really good one. Hold on. Kelly, you can talk until I figure it out.
Oh yeah. Okay. I was just sitting here waiting so does anybody, and I guess I'm sitting here. I'm baffled right at the moment. I'm having, one of those brain fart moments. It's called old age. But I guess the bottom line is our healing is, we're all on our own paths. All right. One person's path is not going to be another person's path. Just like one person's issues are not going to be another person's issues. Well, let me ask, do you guys have anything you want to add to this, or anything you would like to ask that does not, that you just want to know off the top of your head? That does not have to do with, is he coming back? Does he still love me? Things like that. Those are for another night. So, I hear his kids in the background. Auntie Rose.
They're watching Toy Story. For me to begin my self-love journey. Oh, okay. I think I got a good question. Awesome.
Choose self-love first. Yes, always choose self-love first. Because I'm serious, guys. How do you expect somebody else to love you when you don't even love yourself? Seriously. If you don't love yourself, and if you don't respect yourself, and if you don't give yourself that care and consideration, how do you expect somebody else to do it? Sorry, baby girl. To put that responsibility onto another person, to constantly reinforce you, to constantly build you up, to constantly give you that affirmation, becomes exhausting to them. It becomes exhausting to you. That's why you need to be healthy. You need to be whole. You need to be a complete individual.
Right.
Audrey, can you write those questions down for me, please, baby girl?
And with these questions, it's what we're hoping with these questions, okay, why we pre-selected, is for these questions to give you that validation that you need in order to kind of get that clarity for where you're at. So if you think about it, these questions should be able to help you relate to any question you have about your relationships. Okay. It's not, there, it's not specific, but it's still like the bigger picture of the work that you need to do or where you need to focus. And that's kind of like where we're going with the pre. So my question, huh?
Oh, go ahead. Well, one second. She wants to know, how do you attract self-love to you? Honey, it's something that has to, it's okay.
Okay.
Imagine a light inside you and it starts in your heart and it works its way out. That's how you attract self-love, because that's where it's going to start, is in your heart. You have to, in your heart, learn to love yourself. And when you learn to love yourself, self-love is not something you attract to you. It's something you bring out of yourself. And when you can bring it out of yourself, it shows to the rest of the world. And when it shows to the rest of the world, that's when you will start bringing in these healthy relationships. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, Audra, I'm going to say the questions one more time. Let me know when you're ready, Audra. I'll start saying them. I have the 5 here.
She's my smart baby. She always was. Extremely
I think these
smart.
pretty good. So, are you ready?
She said say them one more time.
Okay, so Audra, question number 1 was how has my childhood affected my current relationships or relationship? Number 2 is, what steps do I need to take in order to begin my healing process?
Oh, I understand, sweetheart. I was just, not everybody understands that.
Does my current relationships benefit my emotional stability and growth? Did you get it, Mom? I'll wait for her because that was a lot.
Yeah, she's already got number 1 out.
So you guys, that's the question number 1 that you can ask, and it's $250 for these questions are just $250, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And that's when we're going to start using our card and Oracle deck. So you'll get a reading from on the question. You'll get the question answered by both of us. So just.
Yep. We will each pull 3 cards and an oracle and some of them and give you the answers from there. Audra said she.
Okay. What steps do I need to take in order to begin my healing process, Audra? Ooh, I need this. Ooh. That's fine. We can label them whatever number.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what number.
I kind of just wrote them down quickly. Quick like. Okay, and then number 4 would be, can I be more supportive for how can I be more supportive for the personal relationships in my life? We'll shorten it. We'll say life instead of environment.
Mm-hmm. Panda, what are you looking at?
And then the last one is, what can be done for me to begin my self-love journey?
Actually,
What do I need to know to begin my self-love journey? Sorry. What do I need to know to begin? Sorry. I worded that wrong. What did you have to say, Kelly?
Oh no, I was just thinking about these one set of oracle cards that would probably be a lot better than the other ones I chose.
Ooh, okay. I can't see how many people are in the room.
According to me, too. They just can't keep coming in and out. Didn't you say that somebody had pre-ordered some?
Yeah, I don't know if they're on here. I hadn't see them say hi. If you ordered a question through my PayPal, can you please say hi? I don't know, but I think they may have thought it was gonna be a typical, you know. Ooh, I'm sick. Or ooh, not sick. I was
Yeah, I know.
sneeze. So if you would like to enter any of those questions, or if you like to ask any of those questions, feel free if that's of interest. We might not get no questions.
Mm-hmm. It's all right. We can finish the discussion from earlier where it got cut off, and I'm like, wait, what?
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. What was it? I was just trying to put that out there. I didn't tell people that, so I might have to refund.
Well, we could still answer their questions.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if they have their own.
So,
Who had a Corian said that was meant for everyone to ask themselves.
yeah, it was just some people don't understand. Yeah, I understood that part. That wasn't, it was just that, when you sit there and think about it, how many times have somebody come to us and said, well, how do we start that journey? How do we look for that self love? They
Mm-hmm.
actually don't realize that that self love comes from within. It starts inside you and it radiates out of you. It's
Right,
not something that, you attract.
right. I always say too, like you have to, you know, believe in yourself. You have to know that what you're feeling. And I think that's why everyone, when we talked about validation, I feel like that's why people need validation. Is it right to love yourself? For some reason, I do feel like, how we talked about that word narcissism is thrown around a lot. And I think that what has happened today is people are scared to love themselves. And that's because they're scared of being labeled as selfish
Yep.
and it's not that you're selfish. It's not that you're a bad person. Loving yourself is not bad. So when you need that validation, my suggestion would be I look at daily affirmation to remind myself of what I feel about myself. And what ends up happening is me, saying those affirmations every day is what I end up believing in. Um, and I'm not talking about the actions I take towards people. I'm talking about me as a person on the inside and the good I've done for people. It is a way of receiving that validation a day at a time.
Yeah.
So you start small and then you slowly start to really believe and see that you're pretty fucking worthy, and that's loving yourself.
Yep. You have to know your self worth.
Right. And that's why I said it's like it's a responsibility. It is work. Just
Ain't that
like
the truth?
relationships are work. That self-love one is like what you said, that's the most important one, but that one comes from it's inside you. And
Yeah.
think about it like this: if you can easily love someone, how can you not give yourself that same love. And usually people can't. So to me, it's like you got to figure out how to do it for yourself, regardless of
Yep.
what another person is, what you feel for somebody else. You know what I mean? You have to. And like I said, if you look at like unconditional love, I don't think you can really love someone unconditionally until you love yourself, to be honest. And when I say that, um, I think that's what it is, because I can say, like, I thought I really loved this man and this man. And then when I looked at the crap they were doing to me, when I finally was able to pull myself out of the destruction and the chaos that they caused in my life, I had to see, like, well, whatever they were doing and who they were was not that amazing. And yeah, I had to pull myself out of that for sure.
Yeah. And it becomes a crutch.
I was just about
Because
to say
like you
crutch.
said, when you I mean, I look at me and Audra's dad, and it got to the point I had to sit down and say, is this what I want my children to sit there and think is okay, is a good relationship? Do I want my son to think that hitting on a woman is all right, is just an everyday occurrence? Do I want my daughters to think being beat is a loving relationship? And the answer to that was no. So then I had to figure out a way to get me and the kids out of that situation. Then I turned around, but I kept going back. I kept returning to that same situation because it wasn't that I loved that person, but it was because I was just so, I
I
knew it.
think I think you get to a point where you want validation for the way you felt and for the energy you put in on that person or that situation, whether that be you want to test, like it's almost like I said, that whole fatal attraction thing.
Yeah.
Um, you kind of want to, or codependency, how that works. It's like you want to validate being with that person is the best thing for you. No matter, even if the freaking, there's a stop sign in your face and it's beating you across the head, like, no, no,
That
no.
brick wall keeps coming down, and I'm just ignoring it. I'm like, we're going, let's
Okay,
go.
like the stop sign pole and the sign is on top of your body, but you still want to keep on trying. No.
Watch your road. But
Well, no, you can't. You got to eventually see it for what it is. And that is the validation, that's why they say the truth hurts, because sometimes we just want what we want and we're not thinking about, like I said, the truth in the situation and how we need to fix ourselves. We're distracting ourselves from the core problem that is within our inside ourselves. So
yeah, and I noticed for me, finally realized that I was going back because it's what I knew. And I
right,
was so scared to venture out of that bubble and find out what else was out there because I did not feel my self worth and my self loving was so low. I actually thought that's what I deserved.
right,
And that's what I knew. So um returning to it was easy. It was almost like returning to your favorite blanket because that
right,
blanket was just a stability, and it's scary and it's sad, but that was a stability in my life. I knew
right.
how to navigate it.
Exactly. And that's where it becomes, you know,
So
it becomes fatal, a
yeah,
fatal attraction. It becomes codependency. Um, and that in turn can keep us in a bad situation for a long time. And it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing for us. we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing for us. And therefore, we're not really healing. We're just going backwards. We're, you know,
We're going back to the same bullshit we left.
wasting your time.
Yep.
So I feel that. Does anyone have any questions? I don't know if anyone's in the room.
I've only seen one person in the room, so I'm about ready to close it out. I was really
good.
looking for a bigger turnout, but I think about it this way: if we helped even one person, we're doing good.
Yeah, then we got the message out. I hope that people do take this and really consider looking at yourself and starting with yourself, you guys. I think that would be the most beneficial thing. And if you're on that spiritual journey, as well, then definitely, it starts within.
Yep.
Starts within. So
We were talking about self-love and respecting yourself and healthy boundaries and not being anybody's doormat. We were just basically talking about our experiences and what we've learned over the past few years or however long and being an empath and stuff like that. How are you doing tonight, Jenny?
I like how you shortened it.
Hey, babe. How's it going?
It was a good discussion, you guys. If you look in the questions, those are the questions we're answering tonight. If you are interested in that, but if you have other questions, you can ask.
Yeah, I think we can,
Shut it down.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Hey, Logan. How's it going tonight, baby? Yeah. Self-discovery and self-love is a hard journey to go on. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do.
Exactly. But I think once you do, that's when it's almost like this is how I think of self-love, is like working out and going to the gym, when you start again, it's super freaking hard. You got to push yourself. You got to keep going. You can't just stop the first one or two or three times. You have to keep going. And once you keep going, you're going to start feeling amazing and more amazing and more amazing as you keep doing it, to the point where you feel really good and you feel confident and sure of yourself. And people don't, sometimes we get lazy. Sometimes we get distracted. And like you said, Kelly, we go back to that bad, toxic, or fatal attraction, or the shitty person that's not helping us. And that distracts us once again, from dealing with what's in. And so.
And then you got to be strong enough to sit there and get back out of it. Because I know when I sat there and got on the phone and I got blamed for the whole collapse of the relationship all over again, I'm like, wait, what? What? Are you sure about this? I'm thinking to myself, wait, what?
Because, oh, God.
I'm sorry, but it takes two to make a relationship. It takes two to destroy one.
Exactly.
The thing about it is, you have to know and you have to draw that line. Because you will wind up right back in the same freaking position you were when you started. Because that's what I did. I was back for 2.5 years ago, and I'm like, wait, what? How did we wind up back here again? Because I could have swore I did 2 years worth of fucking healing here. What's going on? So the next day I blasted his ass.
Yeah, and it feels good when you finally stand up to yourself, though. I mean, if you're going back to get clarity from someone who just mistreated you, just remember to stick to your guns, don't settle for their bullshit. Don't settle for the same toxic relationship. Stand your ground, damn it. Because I've seen so many times, it's totally fine to go back, but if you're going back and you're not prepared to acknowledge how amazing you are, or the work you've done with yourself, then it's not time to go back. Or it's, you know, if you're not, like I said, if you end up settling for their bullshit again, then that's the sign that you need, that's the validation that you still need to work on yourself. It's not about them. Who cares what they have to say? It's about you. If you go back to a person who mistreated you and you still feel the same when they're still mistreating you, you should be able to feel good about who you are no matter what. And don't let people take that away from you.
Yeah, no, it's just like, I'm like, well, and I actually had just gone to sit there and say thank you. You know, if it hadn't been for you, I would have never got to Springfield. I would have never found my abilities. I would have never did this. I would have never did that. And it was just like he come up with, do you know now why the relationship ended? I said, yeah, because we both were not ready for it. No, because you, and I'm like, wait, what? Wait, what? So
Um,
you want
okay.
me to take all of the responsibility for the end of the relationship. So 2 years of self discovery and self healing, you want to sabotage it in a matter of minutes.
Right.
And I actually let him do it because at that minute, at that time, I'm like, I'm talking to the love of my life again. But then I got off the phone and I realized I was talking to the love of my life, but I was also letting him control me all over again, control the relationship all over again. I wasn't standing up for myself, and I'm like, I can't do this again.
Right. Yeah. I told you a little bit about what I went through with the guy that I'm currently dealing with and I just had the baby with. And he said to me, in a way, there's different ways that someone can make you feel like you're on the wrong path, or they can make you feel like you're not shit. they will
Basically,
come at they will come at you the most vulgar, most just out of the air way that they can. And and Kelly, you kind of know what was said to me that led to me, pretty much he didn't follow through on his end as the father of his child, you know, and that has nothing to do with me. I had to get to a point where I separated, like, hey, I'm not responsible for you being a good father.
yeah.
You're responsible to your child, and it's your responsibility. I'm not helping you. I can only be responsible. I said that because dude wouldn't give me a relationship. He didn't even think I was worthy of a relationship, but he was content keeping me in his life. He was content using me for whatever he needs, you know? And so for me to stand up for myself and stop actually caring, because I mean, this is a guy who said I trapped him with a baby, which, come on, we all know that does not work. If you ever try to, you never get pregnant by the guys you want to get pregnant by. It
Tell
don't
me
work like that.
what's the size of it. Never get pregnant by
Uh,
the ones you want to get pregnant by. Well, you can't say you never do, but 9 times out of 10, you don't.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
So to hear someone that I thought I loved at one, I thought I loved, I did love, okay, because I'm an empath, and love for me is not something easy to do.
no,
I
it's
saw my mother be abused and that toxic cycle of relationships she was in, and I kind of was like, ew, I don't want a man. I don't want to depend on someone that way for me to be content with myself. That's kind of my wall that I built up for my childhood. And so to hear someone say to me that I would use a child, you know, or to do something that's honestly beyond my imagination that I would ever think of to do to anyone, it's just nothing I would ever do. It disgusted me. It hurt too, because it's like, dude, you're talking about my child. And it just made me, that's when I started sticking up for myself and saying, like, okay, dude, you know what? you're responsible for your child. No one's making you stay here. And if I trapped you, then where the hell is my fucking ring? You
Oh,
know?
you did tell him that. Hey,
I
good
did
girl.
tell him that. Because it's true. I mean, what did I trap? What did I trap? Me just fighting for the next 18 years with someone?
Yeah.
How the hell is that a trap? No. And I'm gonna say this. I saw this meme earlier, and I think it's the most amazing meme. The moment you can always choose to walk away and stop playing their game. The moment you do, it's the moment that they're actually gonna fucking fall out of their chair and be like, okay, I don't know what to do. You stop playing their game. You have to make that decision to do it. I was playing this game with him to validate, and just me being a Leo, I was validating myself for my role in the relationship with him. That wasn't even a relationship because he didn't value me enough to give me that. And so therefore, it's like, dude, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I going to argue with this moron about who I am? I don't need to prove who I am. I know myself. My words match my action. I don't have anyone to feel bad about, and I'm not going to. So I finally stopped arguing for myself, and I just straight up said, now I can't just walk away from you because, oh, I trapped you. Ha ha ha. But
Who trapped you? Yeah.
But what I can do is no longer put up with your bullshit and no longer let you put me in this mental cage that you're trying to put me in because you're weak, because you have problems. You want to make your issues mine, honey. I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
I'm not your girlfriend, I'm not your mother, not even your sister, and we're not friends. He blew that to hell. Go ahead, Kelly.
Well, I know. Well, it was just like he told me that I was trying to control the relationship, and I'm like, dude, you controlled the relationship a whole fucking time we were together. You said when we got together, um, I mean, if I controlled anything, yeah, I asked for morning. I asked you to call me every day. Hell yeah, I wanted to be part of your fucking life. I only got to see you less than 24 hours, one day a week, and we were living in the same damn city. And he was like, you tried to control it. I'm like, dude. And what I realized is his, he saw feelings, he saw love as a form of control and manipulation. So to him, I was trying to control and manipulate the relationship. And
Oh, that's
that
funny because I
is,
think people like that and I'm going to just say this is like a message to all of you guys. Liars and people that are actually using you or they don't have good intent, they always have a way of telling on themselves. Okay? You don't need to be psychic to know that. I mean, these people are so low vibrational and they don't want to do the work within themselves. They will distract themselves with the craziest. They will do the craziest things
yep,
in order to just cause chaos. And I'm not going to label no one as narcissistic because I'm not. I don't like that because I feel like that's a scape. That's a scapegoat for just people that are decent, that know better, to just not do better.
yeah,
So I don't like using that word, but I'm saying they will tell you exactly what they're doing to you by
yeah,
telling you that you're doing it to them. And that's the first sign that that is the wrong person. Someone who really loves you is never going to make you feel like you being in their life or the choices you made for the relationship were a mistake unless you actually did them. Does that
yeah.
make sense? They're not making up. You trapped me with the baby. What?
I remember, yeah, because I remember I kept on going back and back. I mean, this man would hurt me, emotionally hurt me. Oh, I mean, he never physically hurt me. He never physically did anything to me, but emotionally, he would do things, and I know he knows what he was doing. And I just kept on going back and kept on going back and kept on going back because I loved him.
Right.
I loved, and I knew in my heart what a great man he could be. But what I didn't realize at the time was to him, my love and support was actually him feeling like I was trying to control him.
Right.
And he was emotionally unavailable. I used to, and Logan could sit there, I used to sit there and joke all the time that we made the perfect power couple because I was overly emotional and he was underly emotional. We would have made the perfect power couple. Well, he tore them all down. I was building them back up.
Well, and that's the thing to realize, you guys, is, you can't make someone do that work on themselves. You can't force someone to value themselves in order for them to do better. They have to want to realize and do that for themselves. And you got to just hope by walking away that maybe they'll see the damn light one day and maybe they'll get it. You can't force it.
No, you
and
can't.
That's another thing. Don't stay because you love them and no, don't do that. Your happiness is at the expense of someone who's just miserable and they can't do the work, and if you don't have your happiness, whether you love someone or not, you will lose yourself. And yourself is something, losing yourself is something that is the hardest thing to get back. You will regret it that you chose. I
love you too, baby. Call me later.
You will regret that you chose to put up with someone who didn't want to do that work on themselves, or they didn't even care about you enough to do that work on themselves.
And that's basically what it was. He was glad to sit there and do gimme, but wasn't willing to give anything back in return. And I was just not leaving. I was just so wrapped up in him and not seeing myself that I didn't want to. It's not that I didn't see the signs. I chose to ignore the signs. And when it all fell down, crumbling around my damn feet, it nearly destroyed me.
Go turn on the light. Sorry, Kelly, my kids are all around me.
Oh,
sure you can see because one just poked me in the face. So yeah, I agree. Like, I think also it's very easy to fall in love with someone's potential. Yep. And I always say, like, now to myself, don't fall in love with potential. Fall in love for what it is, what's there in front of your face. Like, fall in love with the truth. If someone is showing you like that respect, that honesty, that loyalty, like, that's what you fall in love with. Don't fall in love with what someone could be. Because, we could all be anything. Do you understand what that means? So we can all be anything. We all could be amazing. It's just up to us to actually live and walk in the way that portrays that. And, if someone is mistreating you and hurting you and cutting you down, well, that's not somebody you need to stay.
Yeah. And that was my biggest problem. I saw the potential in him. I fell in love with the man, and then I believed that if I just loved him enough, if I just hung on enough, if I just stuck it out enough, that he would actually start returning that love. And I just wound up in another vicious cycle that I didn't think I would ever walk back into it ever again in my life, and I did. I walked right through that door. Hello, here I am. Let's go. It's like, seriously, you did it again.
Jenny said the heart wants what it wants.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, that's true. But guess what? That's where the balance comes in. I think, the heart can want to love. That's what the heart's supposed to do. But you think about want, that just because a heart loves doesn't mean they want to be mistreated. Doesn't mean, it wants to be abused or broken. The heart doesn't want to be broken, Jenny. So that saying is kind of, to me, like a little bit immature, because yeah, the heart could want to love. That's what the heart really wants. That's what the heart needs. Want and needs are two different things. And what you need is to be able to love someone freely and not feel guilty about loving someone, or being a partner to someone, or being supportive of someone. That's not love.
It's
That's
like
not love.
I'm going to love this man for forever, for the rest of my life. There's a part of me that will always love him. I will never say there isn't. When I texted him on the phone, my words were, honey, I love you, but I love myself more. That's where that self-respect comes in. That's where that self-love comes in. It doesn't mean we don't love them.
Right. Well, that's true. And that's what I'm saying. The heart, if you're a good, loving individual, the heart wants to love. And so that saying should be, the heart wants to love. It doesn't matter who you are, the heart wants to love, you know? It's not about the want, it's just the love. People don't realize you find contentment, you find a sense of value, peace, by loving other people, believe it or not, and by giving. And so it's only human nature to, want that feeling, because it is the most amazing, it is the most rewarding gift on this world, is to do everything by the heart. When you do it by the heart, it's pure, it's pure, it's true. But also, like I said, with the balance, you got to use your head.
Yep.
Because sometimes your head can play some mental tricks on you and make you stay into situations, or the heart can play, tricks on you and make you use it as an excuse to stay in a situation. And that's just not where mentally, that's where you got to use that mental and say, okay, no. Because if you mentally use your heart, you put those two together. I think a lot of people don't put those two together, and that's why they don't have a lot of balance. But if you put them together, use the head and the heart for the same thing,
I was thinking that all day today, Logan.
What happened?
Oh, he said, all my exes live in Texas. I remember earlier today.
And yeah, you can love someone from a distance. You can love,
I like to say, all my exes live in Texas via Michigan. Let's go. That's why I lay my head in Missouri.
Yeah, Corey. It's not funny. It's not funny.
I would say to use equal parts head and equal parts heart.
That's what I'm saying. That's balance. Because look, y'all, I don't care if you like it or not. That brain that you have up there that realizes, oh, that flight or fight, that flight or fight, isn't that what it's called? Reaction that we all have as humans. That's what's gonna keep you out of some very toxic shit.
Fight or fight. I used to fight. Oh my God, did I used to fight?
Like, and then the heart is secondary to that. It is that strength that, like I said, it's the truest, purest form to give to someone, love. So you got to know that balance for yourself. And it's different for everyone. I mean, that's why I said take it slow. I do feel like people go in very quickly with certain people, and I do believe it depends on circumstances, because I believe you can be with someone for 5 years and never love them as much as you can meet someone in 2 months and love them to the world, to the moon and back. But you got to think like, well, why is that? Like, why can people fall in love with certain people faster? And that has to do with connection and all that. But I also think that's, also setting those healthy boundaries and being,
Yep.
using your head to do that. Like, so that way, if you do fall in love quickly, you don't, or
Let
you
your
wear
heart
your,
rule your head.
right, you don't let your, that's like for people who wear their heart on their sleeve and they say, well, I'm just a lover. Okay, you're a lover, but how's that working out for you? If you have to call me crying because your husband is with the mistress and you're at home alone with the kids, and I can't even begin to tell you guys how many people I have coming to me because their husband or wife is just not a husband and wife. And I'm like, wait a second.
Yep.
I mean, I get it. You love them. Stop wearing your heart on your sleeve and you start standing up for yourself and loving yourself. Um, I've had so many people that I've said the same things to, and they keep doing that. And I've actually told people, like, well, I got to cut you off because if you're not going to try for yourself, there's no point in me speaking to you. There's no point in me rooting you on if you're not actually going to do the work for yourself.
Yep.
Um, and that's the hardest thing as a reader and empath. Like, I'm not your therapist. I don't want to hear how you're failing every day because you're deciding to be in an abusive relationship. You're deciding to put up with someone who doesn't love you. Like, that whole love them for afar thing is pretty damn powerful. And if you need to love yourself first. Take a step back because that person's not going to love you any better if you keep letting them use you as a doormat. It's just the way it is. That's how people are. If we get it and it's easy, we don't take it. We take it for granted. You know,
Yep.
that's the whole. We don't know what you got until it's gone.
Gone. Yeah.
And sometimes you need to show someone, like, okay, me loving myself. I love myself more than I love you. And sometimes you need to show people that. And once you do, it's like people will really start to change how they treat you, because you're standing your damn ground. I can tell you how many women I've actually read for that I've seen them do the shit I say, and holy shit, their whole relationship is, oh, sorry guys, their whole relationship is different. It's better. The man is valuing them. And they say, thank you, thank you. Oh my God, your predictions were right. You were right when you gave me. No, it's not about being right. It's about what you're supposed to do. You did the right thing. You stood up for yourself when I said, and because you did that, it actually worked with the person that you wanted, the person you were loving at that time. Not yet.
Yep. That's why I sat there
I'm
and
gonna
said,
order pizza.
I don't know what to tell you, dude. I'm not putting myself in that position again. I value my respect. I value my sanity. I value myself. And I am not going to put myself back into a loveless relationship just because
Sorry, guys.
um, I love you. I may love you, but you don't love me. So there's no sense in going down that road ever again. Yeah, you
Right.
need to honor yourself. You need to respect yourself. You need to put out those boundaries, especially, because if you go back to the same shit over and over again and you do the same thing over, it's kind of like what they say, and they say it, and it's so true. It's eerie sometimes, but if you do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result, that is insanity. Because if you're going to stand up and let them slap you down and not do a damn thing about it and stand up and let them slap you down, how many times do you have to go through that before you realize that until you turn around and walk away, they're not
Mm-hmm.
going to stop slapping you down?
Yeah, and even I want to tell you guys something about one sign you can realize when someone is not, when you gotta love somebody from afar is when you do walk away and they start treating you bad because you walked away. That is someone I tell people all the time. That's a number one sign that that person's just not for you. There's no hope for that person because see, um, a person who a little bit values you, or a person who's just not wanting to look at them, or a person that's willing to look at the actions they've done wrong towards you, the only way they're going to do that is by, like you said, walking away. And most of the time, the people that don't care and they don't want to look at their actions, they are going to be mean to you. They are going to blame you. They are going to be a jerk or an asshole or whatever, you know. And you got to realize that for yourself. Like it's not rocket science. If this person's sitting here being mean to you because you're doing what's best for yourself and you're loving yourself, and they just want to cut that down, that's your first sign there's no hope for that person. And you also have to realize that that person's issues have nothing to do
To
with
do
you.
with you. That's their issues. I have
Yeah,
no control over what you think and feel any more than you have control over what I think and feel.
right. And so, sorry guys, my baby's crying. Oh, you're silly. You're silly.
The only one we actually have control over is ourselves. Hi, little man.
So
There's my
yeah,
handsome boy. There's
he's
my
looking
handsome boy.
like, Mom, where you had me sitting? I had you sitting in your seat, but I just covered it with a blanket. He's looking at it like I have never seen this before. What are we doing here, Mom? What are we
So,
doing? Hi. Now you want to look at everybody. Yeah, I definitely think that's a big one to remember, is someone who really does, they will actually look at, if there's any hope, they will actually look at their actions. They won't be mad at you for loving yourself or doing what it is that you needed to walk away.
yeah,
um and if they are, like I said, that's their issue. Don't sit there and beat yourself up for something you didn't do. You didn't break their heart. They probably have some childhood trauma that they need to freaking deal with, you
yep,
know? And that's not on you. It's not your responsibility. And sometimes we tend to want to take that responsibility when we want to fix
yeah.
the other person, or we want to have that perfect relationship with this one person. It's like, don't work that way. Don't fix anyone. You can only fix yourself. You can't save someone.
Nope.
You can't save someone,
It's kind of
as
like
a
the airplane scenario. Who do you put the mask on first, yourself or your kids?
right. And that goes, like, even if you look at us as readers, we can't fix you guys. We can guide you guys. That's our job. That's the gift we were given. We can guide and we can tell you what, they're telling us, and share with you the secrets to get in touch with yourself on your journey. But we cannot fix you. You have to fix you ultimately.
Yep.
And we got to just hope that you take this information we give you and you use it to the best of your ability. That's why we do what we do. That's why we are who we are. Readers are psychics, empaths, whatever, mediums. We go through the trauma and crap all the time, and the reason why is so we can talk to you and we can help you, because we can understand, we can put ourselves in your shoes, we can channel your experiences.
And I found a lot of readers that
Mhm.
I've run across have gone through traumatic experiences, and that is how they wound up with their gifts. I don't
Yeah,
think that's by accident.
no, it's not. It's because usually, like I said when I talked about my story in the beginning, my gifts had been blocked because I chose to block my gifts out.
Yep.
And my gifts came out for me. My guides came out for me because I would have been lost. I wouldn't have been able to pull myself out of that alone. And so thank God, right, that I had my guides. Thank God I have that protection. But I always tell people, we all have that protection. We
Yep.
just got to open ourselves up to it. And part of the way you do that is when you're going through something traumatic or you're going through a situation that's hard for you to walk away, you just do the work.
Hey, Liz.
And you see, once you start doing the work, that hey, I'm better. You know, I'm better. I don't know how I got out of that. Well, you want to know how you got out of that abusive relationship? You want to know how you got out of that hurt, that pain, that frustration? Your guides were standing right there with you. You just may not have even noticed it. Oh, thank you guys for saying my baby's cute.
Yeah,
He's
the little man.
he's pretty cute. You guys want him. He cries a lot too.
Yeah, no.
I'm
See, I would
kidding.
have to shoot Scorpio in the foot.
Oh, you don't want my problems, Mama Blue. You know, sometimes I've thought about going to jail.
Oh, you
Like,
and
you
me
know
both,
what? I might have to send Mama Blue some bail money and take one for the team.
Hey, been there, done that. No, I didn't, but I wanted to.
That's cool.
The better
Mama
part
Bajork.
of 10 months wanting to shoot him in the foot with his own damn gun.
Jenny said that's good. That means they're healthy. Yeah, girl, he might be extremely healthy then. Oh, about that. No, he's colicky. He's teething. He's teething too. So, and now we're gonna turn it to the baby show. It's not the baby show, anyways.
Yeah, it is. Actually, Logan's the one that first started calling me Mama Boo, and it stuck. And I thank him for it every day because I love it.
Who?
Logan, Mama Boje, Logan.
Oh, okay. Hi. I didn't know that was Logan.
Yep, that's Logan. He was
Oh,
the
hi,
first one that
Logan.
ever started calling me Mama Blue.
That's
And
why you kept saying Logan, and I'm like, I don't see Logan's comments. I didn't see him, but no, you were there. Okay. Hi, hey, Logan. How are you? That's why I didn't say hey or anything because I didn't even know where you were seeing him. I'm like, I don't know if he blocked me or something. Damn.
no, Mama Boje. That's my son by another mother. So
Yeah, okay. I see that now, Logan. I'm sorry.
almost a year ago, and been off and running ever since. When I started, what I found is when I started this journey, I started going online and reading. I actually started meeting other tarot readers that have helped tremendously, including Logan. And because before, when I was just watching them sit there and anyways, before I started reading, I never met other readers. I talked to really other readers. It was all generals and crap like that. But
you needed what you needed for a time. Like I said, sometimes we need that inspiration or that hope to pick ourselves up or to get us through something. Maybe that was your guides trying to direct you, like you said, like you ended up being a tarot reader. Like they direct you to other tarot readers that help open your abilities, that helped you become stronger and realize your value, so sometimes the guides are there. They are going to throw things at you, to help you. Things are not, it's not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences to a point, like I don't, because I think like when things happen, I know you're laughing and I know why, but leave me the hell alone. God damn it. I know when I said that I wanted to word it differently, and then I was like, wait a second.
It's like, what? Whatever. Fuck it. It's there.
Not in the same message or same way. We're
I know.
inside joke. That's an inside joke
It's
now.
an inside joke. I'll tell you about it later, Logan.
Um, I like that show, The Greatest Showman. But anyways, I don't believe in coincidences. I think everyone that walks into our life and situations we go through, were, is due to God, our guides. And I do believe it is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. I don't think the universe puts us in places. I think we have so much power and tools. We just have to open that up and believe in ourselves. And I think, once we do that, like it really helps us. It helps us become stronger humans, so when I say I don't believe in coincidences, I'm saying, I think everything that you've been through in your life, I think everything you go through was meant to happen. And the choices you make, even, I think, were meant to happen in order to shape you to be the person you are today. Um, bad or good, So,
And like I said, look how far you two have come now, Logan. I mean, and that was when I was first starting my journey. And I read for Logan, and we've been friends and family ever since. And I love him to death. And you're right. Spirit puts people in our past, and sometimes they're just there for a little while, sometimes they're there forever. I mean, look at you and I and what we've accomplished just as in the past few weeks.
yeah.
And that was, and all the people that I've met along this journey, I swear to God, they've all taught me something. They've all.
Yeah, I same. Let me tell you, I've had people that I just met when I was going through some hard times walk into my life and do everything for me than someone I've known for years that would never do that for me.
Yep.
And they walked in my life by coincidence. And I'm like, okay, yeah, my guide sent that person. It's not a coincidence.
Yep.
That's what I needed for myself at that time to pull me out of whatever depression or whatever I was going through. And I always look at it that way. And I always say, okay, I'm thankful because I think if you actually appreciate what blessings come your way, even big or small, I think it helps you kind of also value yourself more in a way. Does that make sense? Like, I think when you say, okay, I'm thankful that this friendship, that I didn't plan on happening, but it happened. I'm thankful because that's what I needed in order to wake me the hell up. Or I needed it for whatever. Maybe I needed it just to feel good for myself, I think that's when we start being appreciative of the blessings is when we really also start to value ourselves more. And that's why I said, it's like going to the damn gym. When you think of relationships, the people that are there and support you are amazing. It feels amazing. Yep. So you got to keep meeting people that have your best interests, and you got to keep those people around you. Sometimes we'll have good people in our lives and we'll kind of push them away because we feel ashamed of ourselves, or we feel like, we have something that we just don't want to, we want to cover up. We don't want to know. We rather go to the bad or the fatal attraction than deal with the people that are good in front of us, that are actually supporting us. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that comes right back to self-respect and self-love. If you don't have that self-respect and self-love, you don't go to the good relationships. You will go to the bad ones because it is all in how you feel about yourself.
Right.
If you don't love yourself, if you don't respect yourself, you're never going to have that love relationship that you want so much.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. I gotta get off here, Mama Blue.
Yeah, me too.
I gotta order the food.
Oh.
No, I made chicken, but like it's for tomorrow. But I seasoned it. It's for tomorrow. I was gonna grill, but it's too dark, so I'm just gonna order pizza.
Oh, yeah, send one my way, will you?
All right, you guys. Thank you guys for so much. Thank you so much for joining the chat and actually having an inspirational conversation. I'll see you all later. And thank you, Mama Blue, for having. If you aren't following my channel, go to Strength of Tarot and follow me. I'm doing general monthlies. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Logan, Corey, Jenny. Is it Jenna or Jenny? I don't remember who was. Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. And everybody that came and supported this. I hope we can do more stuff like this. We were talking about it, and I think we will. And as we will, I know it's going to grow because some people really actually appreciate, these channels that help guide or help, encourage us. And that's kind of what we were going for, is to encourage people to love themselves and find stability and growth and help.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll be a little more organized.
Yeah, we will. All right. Or not. But we'll see.
Yeah, never.
All right. I love you guys.
Bye, sweetheart.
Bye.
Oh, all right, guys. Logan, are you going to be on Discord? Hey, babe. Yeah. And you guys have been, I can't tell you how much of a major support system you guys have been. I love you all so much. All right, cool. I'll come back on there in a little bit. And we can talk about one night, me and you getting on here together. So, yes, you. Told you I wanted to bring you on one night. Now that I've figured all of this out. Took me a minute. But I actually found I like this system. Well, I like StreamYard. It's easy. But, all right. I love you all. And I will talk to you later. Logan, if you're on Discord, probably in about a half an hour or so, I'll look you up. So we can talk about, because I would really like to bring you on the channel one night. So we just haven't had a chance to talk about it. So anyways, you guys go over. Her name is Strength of Tarot. She's an extremely amazing reader. So far, pretty much everything she's told me has come true. And so go subscribe to her channel. Show her love. All right. I love you all. I will talk to you later. Good night. And thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I love you guys. Good night.